Good morning. Hello, hello. It's Saturday, which means it is time for stamp class. So I'm really excited to be with you this morning. And I thank you for being here. If you're watching the replay, glad you're here as well. We are going to get started with our live video this morning for our first project. Good morning, Judy. Glad you could join us. I forgot to turn my heater on Wednesday when I did my Facebook Live. And guess what, y'all? I did it again today. Forgot to turn my heater on. So it's a little bit chilly in here. Hope you're doing well. A little bit chilly outside. This weather, goodness. We had the fireplace on last night, which was really lovely. Watched a TV show right quick and just kind of hung out. So as you hop on, just if you'll let us know you're here and say hello. I appreciate you being here. Dale ran Oliver up to the groomer, so he'll be back to help me in just a minute, but we're going to go ahead and get started. So I have so much to show you today. I'm really, really excited about our class. If you have not yet seen the Fine Art Floral suite, you're going to be blown away because it is just lovely. I thought I would tell you first off, my grandfather, my kids called him Papa Al. I called him Gramps. He passed away, gosh, it's been about 23 years ago, but he was a commercial artist. And that was way back in the time when there were banners in the grocery store windows that someone had to hand letter. And if you saw a vehicle that had information on the side of it, then that was hand lettered onto the side. And so that's the type of things that my grandfather did also for the movie theaters. Most of the promotional things that you saw in the movie theater were hand done. And I mean, that was a long, long time ago. But even in the early 70s, I remember when the Towering Inferno came out, Grandpa made a big display. So he was a commercial artist. For years and years, I thought that I did not get that creative gene. And then I found paper crafting and then Stampin' Up. And so I love that I can express my creativity, and I really do feel like an artist sometimes, and this suite is one of those suites that will help you feel like an artist as well. It makes it just so easy to create beautiful projects, and you just feel like a crafting rock star, you guys. So the Fine Art Floral Suite begins on page 32 in our new mini catalog. Tons and tons of samples from Stampin' Up that are just stunning. And I have to tell you, as I worked with this suite to prepare for class, I just could not quit creating. It's just such a beautiful collection of products. So much fun to work with. Now, when you turn the page here, you find all of the components that are in this suite, and I have most of them today. There is some, let me think of the exact name of it. Oh goodness, I may not find it. It's some gold leafing, and then some heat and stick powder. I chose not to get that. I bought everything else in this collection, just not that. And now, of course, I'm seeing projects made with it, and I wish that I had purchased it as well. So that's something you may see me using in the future. It's a really neat way to add some gorgeous accents to your cards with that gold leafing. I love embossing. I do love that. I'm not a fan of a mess. Let me put it that way. And I know with that gold leafing, I'm going to make a mess. But seeing the projects that people are making, I've got to have it too. So I'll be ordering that soon and sharing some things with you. My friend Betsy did a launch party and showed just how easy it is to use that leafing. And it's definitely something I need to get. I also brought this flyer out just as a reminder that our Whisper White products retired due to the fact that the mill had to close. Good morning, Jan and Sherry. Thank y'all for being here. But we now do have our basic white products. So regular cardstock, regular weight cardstock, the thick white. It's really hard. I've been a demonstrator for almost 8 years, and we've always had Whisper White. I'm still learning to call it basic white, but we do have all of those products available again. The note cards and envelopes, regular envelopes, the thick basic white cardstock. So all of those things are back in stock. I just wanted to let you know if you need help with an item number, I'll be glad to help you with that. So let's go ahead and take a look at some samples. I'm going to try this just a little bit differently today. You know, I like to mix it up and keep you on your toes. So I thought what I would do is just share the piece of designer series paper, and then I have some projects made with that paper. So I thought that may help kind of just show you what can be done. Of course, that's the B side. So these are beautiful floral images on one side that have that oil painting look to them. And all of our papers are hand-drawn and then hand painted or colored and then manufactured. So that's why it's just such beautiful paper. But it has that oil color look to it. So this is a card that I made with this paper for a swap that I participated in. So just really featuring a 3x3 piece of the paper. I love using mats behind the paper of cardstock so that it really pulls those colors out the paper. And it's really neat if you've ever tried this. I know I've taught this before, but when you use mats, it helps you pull those colors. And it's very interesting to put different cardstocks behind a paper and just really see what it pulls. But this is just a 3x3 piece of paper, so you've got petal pink, gosh, I'm trying to think, terracotta tile, and then mossy meadow here. So there's beautiful colors in this paper, lots and lots of colors to choose from. And then here is another sample that I received in a swap. I thought this was a really pretty card. So very similar color scheme, and then you have the So Saffron oval that the sentiment is on. So I love that piece of paper. It's probably, well, I'd say it's one of my favorites. You know I love it all, you guys. This is a really beautiful piece of paper. Sometimes, though, when the paper is not complete, the design is not complete on the page, I struggle with, well, how am I going to use that to make cards? Because, you know, I make multiples of a lot of cards, but this would lend itself very well to scrapbooking. And then that beautiful kind of watercolor wash look on the back, or I guess like the oil painting like we talked about. So this is one of my favorite pieces of paper. Again, I love it all. But here's one of the cards that I created. Just very, very simple. Again, letting that designer series paper speak. I feel like that's just so important when you have a beautiful paper like that, to just kind of keep it simple. So you won't see anything super fancy in class today because I just feel like the paper is so lovely. So, and then this is one that I created using this section up here at the top, you know, where there's not a lot of color, but it just brings in just a little bit of the floral image. And then this sentiment is actually from a celebration stamp set called Healing Your Heart. And it does pair very, very nicely with this paper and with this suite. So that's a second sample for you with that paper. Now, of course, this whole entire collection is a little bit over $100. I think it's like 101 or 102, which I know can be a lot of money to spend, but you get one of everything in the suite when you purchase that full collection. Now, let me see if I did that right. So this is one that has a really pretty unique background, and that's what I used to create this card. And the dies in the set do coordinate with some of the floral images, so you can certainly die cut those out. You could fussy cut. Doesn't line up with all of them, but you can fussy cut. Went ahead and used the champagne rhinestones on this sample. I thought that was a really pretty accent. I don't know if you can tell, but there is some embossing on that piece behind there, a little bit of the ribbon from the suite, and then just brought that floral image to the inside. So another super, super quick project, but just so pretty. It's so easy to create with this paper, you guys. Okay, next up is another piece that doesn't have the image of the flowers going all the way to the top of the piece. So again, if you have some kind of wall art, that would look lovely on here. Certainly scrapbooking. And it's got the pretty orange. Now this is pumpkin pie, which was a little bit surprising to me. A lot of times I only use pumpkin pie in the fall, but it looks great in these flowers. So here's one of my samples, and again I cut that piece that has just those small bits of floral in the bottom there, and that was one of the ways to use that paper. And just want to say is part of the die set, which I'll be showing you, and then the little message inside. And again, super simple card, but I'm letting that paper do the work for me. And here too, just want to say I miss you. So 2 examples with that paper. I just think it's so pretty. You've got petal pink. I'm trying to think what other colors, just lots and lots of colors in this paper to choose from. Good morning, LD. Glad you're here. Good morning, Jan Miller. I'm not sure that I said good morning to you. Okay, and then we've got another paper that I know that we used this excuse me, on one of the projects that you'll be seeing today. So isn't this lovely on the back? So I don't have a sample per se with that paper. And then here is the final piece of designer series paper. And then this is actually one of the ones that we'll be using for our first project. Dale's back from taking Oliver. And here's the last sample I want to show you before we go ahead and start creating this morning. So again, super simple card using the Mary Merlot, the So Saffron to really bring out the colors in that paper and make those floral images pop. So let me get all of this out of the way. I did it a little bit differently, Dale. I showed them each piece of paper and then the cards, so you may want to just set those aside. Now the next thing I want to show you in this is there's a beautiful acetate, a package of designer acetate, and it's got 3 different images or designs on it. So I'm just holding it up to the piece of cardstock because of course it's clear like our window sheets, but it has that design on it. So these are really pretty, and they are double-sided. So you have gold on one side and silver on the other. So I thought that was really cool. On this silver side, one of these I've got it started. Can't remember which one. That one. So on the silver side, there's some clear little piece of plastic that you want to be sure that you pull off before you use it on your project, because it does give it that little bit of cloudy effect. So you want to pull that off. That's just mainly for when it's packaged and shipped so that it does not scratch. So here's another design. I'm not sure how well that will show up with the lighting, but it's super, super pretty. We'll be using this on our project today. A couple of them, I think. Very, very pretty. That's another component. And then we've got a very pretty, and I should have embossed something to show you, but this embossing folder is called Painted Texture, and it just adds a very neat look to your cards, to your projects when you use this. It's a pretty deep impression folder. Oh, Dale pulled out something that we did emboss, and again, I'm just not sure how well that will show up on camera. Trust me, it gives it almost like a gesso effect in the background. It's really pretty. Just gives that little bit of texture that a lot of times just adds that something extra to our projects. And then we have the art gallery bundle. So the dies and the stamp set, and of course when you purchase both, you save 10%. So the floral images, you've also got that just want to say, which is nice that it cuts that out and coordinates with some of the sentiments on the stamp set. Now we're going to be using all of the image stamps today and then some of the sentiment stamps. So we're going to get a lot of mileage out of this stamp set. And you've got these really neat little frames that you can put your sentiments in. So this is a really neat die and stamp collection. I did pair these products a lot with Heal Your Heart, which is a celebration item that is free with a $50 purchase. Of course, if you did purchase the entire collection, Sweet Collection, then that's a $100 purchase, so you would earn 2 items. But I definitely recommend Heal Your Heart with this paper and this stamp set. It's just beautiful. The font, you guys know, I love fonts, so it's a very, very nice set. And then I think that last is the fine art ribbon, and it's a 3/8 inch ribbon, a nice neutral. It does have some gold flecks in it, super easy to work with. It's got the flecks on both sides. Very, very pretty ribbon, and we'll be using that this morning too. Can you see any comments, Steve?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Okay.
A lot of people watching though.
I don't know if maybe even comments aren't working this morning. Never know with Facebook. So we do have a white card base. I have basic white products ordered, but this is still some Whisper White that I had in my stash. So I decided to use the 11 by 4 1/4 and then score it at 5 1/2. So let's go ahead and use the bone folder, and we're going to crease that. Now I don't have a sample to share with you. We're going to create kind of, not really on the fly, because of course I have a design, but we're just not going to show you a sample first. So we're going to bring in some of this beautiful paper that we've already cut. And, oh, did I put the wrong side? No? Oh, this way?
Yeah.
Okay, let me grab some liquid glue, and hopefully it'll work because it's cold in here, y'all. I forgot to turn the heat on, Dale, in case you can't tell.
Couldn't tell.
Couldn't tell? Let me see. Oh, it's going. I'm just going to go ahead and put this towards the top here and leave just a little bit of a border. Again, it's going to be a fairly simple and straightforward card, but it's telling them how Grandpa was a commercial artist, and I never felt very creative and never felt like I had that gene, but using paper crafting products and Stampin' Up, especially with this paper, I really do feel like an artist. And we're going to bring this down here, and there's just going to be a little bit of a gap, but that's okay, because we have something that will cover that. So let me make sure I get that wiggled into place. Y'all know I love my liquid glue because it gives me time. That's pretty just on its own, but of course we are going to make it even prettier. So let's see, I meant to grab some tape, and of course I did not, but that's okay. What I may be able to do is just use a glue dot to hold the ribbon on. Oh goodness, my fingers are cold. Our comment's just not working this morning. Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it.
Sorry guys, we can tell you're there. We just can't see the comments. And I know that you're saying good morning to each other because I know how y'all are. And I hope you are. It's part of what I love to do is be able to connect with you and you to connect with each other. Part of the reason that when all this pandemic started, we went ahead and tried to pivot so that we could stay connected and continue to craft. Okay, let me find my take your pick tool. I think it rolled away. I grabbed the link of Stella, but that's not really going to be helpful. Not for this part. So we'll just pick up a glue dot. Maybe. Just pick up a glue dot here and put that behind the ribbon. And I think that's going to hold that just fine until I get some adhesive on here. Let's see. That looks pretty good.
Looks good.
Okay. Now I also decided to bring in this kind of braided mossy meadow trim, and it is part of the Dandy Garden Suite. If I can find the end of it.
I was thinking it's kind of stunning.
You were thinking it was stunning? There we go. So I don't know if this will pick up, but it's a beautiful braided mossy meadow trim, and because we do have the mossy meadow in this paper, I thought this would be fun, kind of like that other project that I showed you, just to layer this over the ribbon. Oops. I don't know why, but for some reason, I guess even my glue dots are cold. You know how they're normally super, super sticky? Well, they're not this morning. And I think it's just cold. Now, living in an old house has its perks. That is not wanting to stick. But it also can be cold. Fortunately, we live in Texas, and that doesn't last forever, does it? Not very long at all, usually. Let me see if I can pick that up. Goodness, come on, glue dot. Okay, we may abandon this if I really thought that would look pretty to bring that over that ribbon and just give it that extra, you know. Why use one ribbon when you can use two, right? Let me try again using my take your pick tool. I've got that glue dot's pulled way out. Okay, I've kind of got a little bit of mess with my glue dots, but we'll see. I'm sure that my assistant will help me with that. And of course, that doesn't go that far. Sorry, guys. That's not even technical difficulties. That's just my silliness for not turning the heat on. Okay, so now I think we're ready to go ahead and layer this on our card. And I think we will go ahead and come in with liquid glue. I think that that's going to be okay now. It's adhered. Put some liquid glue here across the top and sides. And we will be back with a PDF this month, and I think doing our class in our Craft and Connect group is really going to make it work well, so that all of that content, the PDF and the videos, everything are in one place. I think going forward, having it in this group will be really good each month. Okay, so this looks pretty good. You can see it's coming together, y'all. And then the next thing we need to do is I've got, let me go ahead and bring in my silicone craft sheet. And I'll show you, I've got a new way to use my silicone craft sheet actually, and that's what I need to do. So, you know, we like to use our piercing mat when we're using a photopolymer stamp, which that's what this stamp set is photopolymer. And so now, instead of getting my mat dirty and cleaning it, I've been putting my silicone craft sheet on top of it. And that way, it helps protect my work surface there. So let me find my little floral stamp. And I've got my Petal Pink ink. And I think I'm going to do this first. Is stamp this little floral image. And what's nice about using that silicone craft sheet is I can even only bring a part of the image on, and the rest of that ink will get on my craft sheet, and I'll just be able to wash that later. Whoops. The ink that gets on my fingers, not so much. Okay, and then we're going to come in on this part and just bring in another little bit of that floral image. Now, we're stamping tone on tone on Petal Pink, so it's not going to show up a lot, but it does give a really pretty effect. And let's see how good I stamped this morning. Next thing we're going to do is bring in Mary Merlot ink. And this lovely thank you comes from, this is from Healing Your Heart, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Let me move that over, and we'll go ahead and ink up this stamp. You mind, Dale, handing me that Healing Your Heart? Make sure I get it good and inked up. We'll go ahead and stamp this. Hopefully I didn't get my head in the camera. So lovely. That font. Really, really pretty. So I'll bring that in once more so that you can see how beautiful those sentiments are. So that thank you comes from that set. It just really pairs so well with this. So I can get my mats out of the way. And we will go ahead and pop this up in the center. Let me find my dimensionals over here. You warming up?
Yep.
All right. Put just a few. Now I love my dimensionals. And sorry, we'll go back and look at comments after the video's over. We're almost done with this card, so we will be able to get dimensional backs out of the way there. We'll be able to see comments when we go back in. All right. We'll come in and add our sentiment. So pretty. What did I do? I probably just should have put dimensionals on the top and bottom, but I think that that's going to work okay. Now let me find my, what did I do with them? Oh, I put them up here. I've got a couple of different embellishments to choose from. I really feel like the gilded gems would look really pretty on there. And that's something that I haven't used on any of the samples. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll just bring in a couple. Use that take your pick tool to pick those up. And I'll just add maybe even just that one. And I may put a couple at the bottom as well. If you need a little bit of bling, it never hurts to add more, does it? And I'll bring one more up in the top here. Maybe right up there. Okay, so that is our first project this morning with the Fine Art Floral Suite. Hope you like it, and I hope you like the samples that we shared with you. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'd be glad to help you and answer any questions that you may have. Now, we will be back at 10 o'clock. I have another card for you, and I think you're going to love it. So I'll see you back in a few minutes. Thank you.